8 players down, a cup final lost, a championship club just knocked us out of the FA Cup, and tomorrow night we travel to one of the most dangerous atmospheres in European football. Welcome to James Arsenal Analysis. I am James, and if you are a true Arsenal supporter, you already know that this week has tested every single one of us to our absolute limit. Before we go any further, if you are new here, hit that subscribe button right now, turn on notifications, like the video, drop a comment below telling me how you are feeling ahead of tomorrow, because I want to hear from every one of you. Stay until the very end of this video, because I am going to give you the full tactical breakdown, the complete injury picture, and my honest assessment of what Arsenal need to do tomorrow night to keep this season alive. Do not go anywhere. Right, let us talk about the reality of where we are. Mikel Arteta's Arsenal travel to the Estadio José Alvalade for the first leg of the Champions League quarter-final against Sporting CP. Kickoff is at 9 o'clock Lisbon time. And going into this game, Arsenal are carrying an injury list that would make any manager in Europe wince. 8 players sidelined or seriously doubtful. 8. Let that sink in for a moment. Gabriel Magalhaes, Piero Hincapié, Eberechi Eze, Mikel Merino, Martin Odegaard, Noni Madueke, and then the question marks still hanging over Bukayo Saka, Declan Rice, Jurrien Timber, and Leandro Trossard heading into the days before this fixture. We need to talk about all of it, because how Arsenal line up tomorrow night and whether those returning players are actually fit enough to perform at the highest level will define everything. Let me start with the most painful news first. Gabriel Magalhaes, our leader at the back, the man who organises everything from the left side of that centre-back pairing. On Saturday, in the FA Cup quarter-final against Southampton, Gabriel was pointing at his knee on the pitch as Arsenal's physios rushed over to treat him. He was taken off in the 72nd minute. William Saliba came on as his replacement, and afterwards, Mikel Arteta stood in front of the cameras and said these words: "When a player asks to be substituted, it is not good news. That is not the language of a manager who expects a player to be back within days. That is the language of genuine concern." Gabriel had already withdrawn from the Brazil squad before the international break, citing pain in his right knee. And while he appeared against Southampton, whatever he was carrying clearly had not resolved itself. Now we are heading into a Champions League quarter-final with a question mark over our best central defender, and there is no confirmed return date. The club are assessing him. We are waiting for news. And in his absence at the weekend, William Saliba stepped off the bench and was composed and commanding, as Saliba always is. If Gabriel is ruled out tomorrow, we are looking at a Saliba and Mosquera pairing at the heart of that back four. Christian Mosquera, the 21-year-old signed from Valencia last summer, has been impressive in his debut season. He has composure, he reads the game maturely for his age, but asking him to come into a Champions League quarter-final, away from home, as part of a defensive line missing its most experienced centre-back, in a stadium that will be absolutely rocking behind Sporting CP tomorrow night, that is a serious ask. Then there is Piero Hincapié. The Ecuadorian left-back joined on loan from Bayer Leverkusen in the summer and gave us genuine quality and physicality down that left flank. He hobbled off during Ecuador's international fixture, and Arteta, unusually for a manager who is often careful with his language, confirmed directly that yes, it was a serious injury. No timeline, no return date, just the word serious, and that is enough to tell you everything you need to know about this situation. Without Hincapié, Ricardo Calafiori comes back in at left back. Calafiori is a wonderful footballer. His ability to carry the ball, to invert and connect with midfield play, to defend with his body as much as his positioning, makes him a genuine asset in that role. But he is a different player to Hincapié in terms of physical presence and the directness he offers down that left channel. Tomorrow night, facing a Sporting side with pace and width on the flanks, the demands on whoever plays there will be significant. Now let us address the man whose absence has cast the longest shadow over this entire second half of the season. Martin Odegaard, our captain. Arsenal's heartbeat when he is on the pitch. The man who dictates tempo, who finds passes no one else can find, who carries that quiet authority that makes everyone around him better. Odegaard has not completed a full 90 minutes since December 30th. He made a brief 13-minute cameo in the North London derby against Tottenham in late February, and since then the knee has continued to be a persistent, frustrating problem. Norway manager Ståle Solbakken has been publicly optimistic, but suggesting in recent weeks that Odegaard has less and less pain, and expressing genuine hope that he could feature in an upcoming Arsenal game. The Evening Standard have reportedly earmarked April 11th, the home fixture against Bournemouth, as the more realistic target for his return. What that means for tomorrow is clear. We almost certainly go into this first leg without our captain. I want to be honest with you about what that means. Because on nights like tomorrow, against the Sporting CP side, playing with confidence and belief and genuine quality, the absence of Odegaard is not just a personnel problem. It is a creativity problem. It is a tempo problem. It changes how Arsenal attack, and it changes the kind of chances we create. Martin Zubimendi, who has been absolutely magnificent since joining from Real Sociedad last summer, will carry an even greater burden in midfield tomorrow night. His passing range, his calmness under pressure, his ability to control the rhythm of a match in the biggest moments, those qualities will be absolutely essential. Eberechi Eze remains out with the calf problem that ended his Carabao Cup final hopes and kept him away from England duty. Arteta said this week that he cannot put a finger on a return timeline. That is not encouraging. Mikel Merino, our powerful box-to-box midfield option, is still in a protective boot following foot surgery and is working towards a May return. 2 attacking midfield options, unavailable for the foreseeable future. Noni Madueke picked up a knock during England's draw against Uruguay in the international break. He missed Saturday's match against Southampton, and his return is being penciled in for around April 15th. He plays no part tomorrow night. That is the scale of what Arteta is managing, heading into one of the biggest matches of his Arsenal tenure. But here is what gives me genuine, real belief for tomorrow. 4 key players are expected to be back. Bukayo Saka, Declan Rice, Jurrien Timber, Leandro Trossard, all 4 withdrew from international duty in a managed capacity. None of them appear to have suffered significant structural damage. All 4 are expected to travel to Portugal and be available for selection tomorrow night. And if you look at that list and think carefully about what it means tactically and emotionally for this squad, it changes everything. Saka on the right wing is not just a goal threat. He is Arsenal's most dangerous attacking weapon when fully fit, a player who draws fouls, creates space and drives at defenders with relentless energy and intelligence. The fact he did not feature against Southampton is actually a positive signal for tomorrow. Arteta has protected him deliberately for exactly this kind of European occasion. Declan Rice at the base of midfield gives Arsenal the defensive shield and the ball-carrying quality that nobody else in this squad can replicate. His ability to transition from defence to attack, to break lines with his driving runs, to win second balls and immediately turn defence into offence. He is the engine of this team. Arteta said this week that what Rice has been managing physically, the fact he has performed at the level he has while carrying an ongoing issue for weeks, speaks to extraordinary character. We are going to need that character in Lisbon tomorrow. Timber coming back into the right-back position or into a versatile defensive role depending on Gabriel's availability gives Arsenal pace, athleticism and the ability to support attacks down the right side with real conviction. He has been closing in on full fitness for 3 weeks, and the fact he was described as in contention for the Southampton squad is a strong sign he should be ready to play tomorrow. And Trossard, Leandro returning from his managed absence gives Arteta genuine options from the left side of attack. His intelligence, his link play, his willingness to press from the front, and his ability to operate in tight spaces makes him ideally suited to finding pockets of space in the kind of compact, intense environment a Portuguese European night always produces. So what does the likely lineup look like tomorrow? David Raya in goal, Ben White at right back, or Timber if he comes straight back in. William Saliba in central defence, and if Gabriel is ruled out, Mosquera alongside him. Ricardo Calafiori at left back. Declan Rice anchoring midfield with Martin Zubimendi alongside him. Bukayo Saka on the right side of that attacking 3. Kai Havertz as the advanced central option, operating in the space behind the striker. Leandro Trossard on the left, and Victor Gyokeres leading the line. And then there is the Victor Gyokeres factor. Because if you want to talk about football writing its own script, if you want to talk about narratives that feel almost too significant to be real, look no further than this. Victor Gyokeres left Sporting CP last summer to join Arsenal. He was their talisman, their record scorer, the man who produced 53 goals in 51 appearances during the 2024-25 season, and was a genuine contender for the European Golden Shoe. The Estadio José Alvalade was the ground where he became one of the most feared strikers in European football. And tomorrow night, he walks back through those gates as the opposing centre-forward. In a Champions League quarter-final, with Arsenal needing a result, he has continued that form at the Emirates. He scored the equaliser from the bench in Saturday's frustrating FA Cup defeat to Southampton. He produced one of his finest individual performances of the season in the home win against Leeds United, scoring twice, including a breathtaking solo goal. He has adapted quickly, powerfully, and with exactly the clinical edge you expect from a striker of his calibre. Tomorrow night, facing the fans who once adored him in the stadium, where he produced some of the most breathtaking football this continent has witnessed in recent memory, Gyokeres will have every possible motivation to be at his absolute best. Now let us talk about Sporting CP properly, because dismissing them or assuming this will mirror the 5-1 victory Arsenal produced here in the Champions League phase last season would be one of the most dangerous mistakes this squad and its supporters could make. Rui Borges has built something genuinely impressive at Alvalade. Appointed in December 2024 after a difficult spell under João Pereira, he steadied the ship immediately, winning on his debut against Benfica, and he went on to deliver the Primeira Liga title and the Taça de Portugal. He is tactically sharp, emotionally intelligent, and he has this squad playing with a clear identity that is bold, organised, and dangerous on the counter-attack. The Bodo Glimt comeback in the round of 16 told you everything you need to know about the mentality of this Sporting team. They lost the first leg 3-0, 3 goals behind going into the second leg at home. In European football, that is as close to an impossible mountain as it gets. And they went out and produced a 4-1 performance on the night to go through. That result does not happen by accident. It does not happen in a group of players who lack belief or who lack quality under pressure. It happens when a manager has built a genuine connection with his squad, when the stadium becomes a fortress, and when the occasion brings out the best rather than the fear. Tomorrow night, that stadium will be exactly that kind of fortress again. Sporting go into this match on a 3-game winning run across all competitions. Rui Borges deliberately rested Ousmane Diomande and Gonçalo Inácio for Friday's league fixture against Santa Clara, preserving them specifically so they arrive tomorrow at maximum sharpness. Both are expected to start in central defence alongside Eduardo Quaresma. Diomande in particular is a physically imposing, aggressive defender in the air and on the ground. The kind of centre-back who will make life very difficult for Gyokeres if both are not at their best throughout the 90 minutes. But Sporting have their own significant problems heading into tomorrow. Morten Hjulmand, their captain and the man who controls midfield tempo and provides the defensive anchor of their system, is suspended. He cannot play in the first leg. And losing your captain, your most authoritative and experienced midfielder, in a knockout match of this magnitude changes how a team functions and how much defensive security they have in the middle of the pitch. Daniel Bragança is expected to partner Hidemasa Morita in that double pivot in Hjulmand's absence. And while both are technically capable players, neither carries the same defensive range or leadership quality that Hjulmand provides when he is available. That is a genuine and significant absence for Sporting tomorrow. On top of that, Nuno Santos is confirmed out with a muscular thigh injury suffered in late March. Fotis Ioannidis is also sidelined. Luis Guilherme is expected to miss a 4th consecutive match through an ankle problem. Ivan Fresneda at right-back is a doubt after illness during the build-up, and if he fails to recover in time, Georgios Vagianidis is ready to step in. The one positive from Sporting's perspective on the injury front is Giovanni Quenda. The young winger spent time rehabilitating at Chelsea's Cobham training ground, and reports suggest he has returned to Portugal and could be in contention for tomorrow's match. He is a rapid, direct attacker who gives Sporting unpredictability and pace in wide areas. If he is fit and starting, Arsenal's fullbacks will need to be switched on from the very first whistle. Luis Suarez leads Sporting's attack tomorrow. The Colombian striker has scored in each of his last 3 home Champions League appearances at the Alvalade. He is clever in his movement, strong in hold-up play, and the kind of forward who does not need a high volume of chances to be dangerous. He needs one good moment. David Raya and the Arsenal defensive line must treat every set-piece, every transition, and every Sporting attack with complete focus. From a historical perspective, Arsenal have never lost to Sporting CP across 5 previous meetings. 2 wins and 3 draws is the record. History alone will not win tomorrow's match, but it tells you something about how these 2 clubs match up against one another at the highest level. What Arteta said this week genuinely struck me. He acknowledged openly that this Arsenal side has shown a pattern in recent April campaigns of losing momentum or making costly errors when the pressure reaches its absolute peak. He knows the history of 2023. He knows what slipping up at the crucial moment costs, and the fact he addressed it directly, publicly, tells me the conversation has already happened within the squad. The players know what is at stake, and they know the standard required. This Champions League campaign is now the most defining competition left in Arsenal's season. Not because the Premier League title race is beyond them, because it absolutely is not. Arsenal currently sit 9 points ahead of Manchester City in the Premier League standings. And while City have a game in hand, that is still a commanding position heading into the final stretch of the domestic campaign. The league title is very much alive and in Arsenal's hands. But the Champions League is the trophy that would define this generation of Arsenal players entirely. Winning it for the first time in the club's history would not just be a football achievement, it would be a moment that lives for decades. And the quarter-final is where the real contenders separate themselves from the very good sides. Sporting CP will not make it easy tomorrow. Their atmosphere will be hostile from the first whistle. The fans will push them, lift them, and make the opening exchanges extremely intense. Rui Borges will have them pressing hard and looking to exploit any uncertainty in Arsenal's defensive line, particularly given the questions surrounding Gabriel's fitness and the lack of their natural captain Odegaard in midfield. What Arsenal need more than anything tomorrow is a clean sheet. That is the priority above everything else. Go to Lisbon, stay compact, absorb what Sporting throw at them in those frantic opening minutes, and make absolutely sure they do not concede away from home. An Arsenal goal on top of that, whether from Gyokeres finding the net against his former club, from Saka cutting inside onto his left foot, or from Havertz arriving late into the penalty area, would transform the second leg entirely and put Arsenal in full control of the tie. But the result begins at the back. It begins with Saliba being the leader he has been all season. It begins with Rice winning his battles in midfield. It begins with Raya claiming crosses and commanding his area with complete authority. Gyokeres returning to this stadium tomorrow gives me something beyond just tactical confidence. It gives me a feeling I genuinely believe he scores tomorrow night. The familiarity with the pitch, the knowledge of how these defenders move and think, the motivation of facing the club that built him, and the quality he has shown week after week since putting on an Arsenal shirt. Add Saka at his best on the right, Rice controlling the tempo from deep, and Zubimendi pulling the strings in front of him. And Arsenal have more than enough quality to get a meaningful result in Lisbon tomorrow. Yes, the injuries are deeply concerning. Yes, losing Gabriel on the eve of a Champions League quarter-final is a serious problem. Yes, Saturday's FA Cup exit to Southampton was painful, embarrassing, and not acceptable for a club with Arsenal's ambitions. But football does not carry the pain of the previous result into the next match. It only demands what you produce in the next 90 minutes. And for Arsenal Football Club, those next 90 minutes tomorrow night in Lisbon could be the beginning of something truly historic. I am backing the Gunners. I am backing Arteta to get the tactical setup right in a hostile environment. I am backing Rice and Zubimendi to dominate that midfield battle. I am backing Saka to produce the moments that define European knockout football. And I am backing Victor Gyokeres to walk into that stadium tomorrow night and remind everyone watching exactly why Arsenal spent the money they did to bring him to North London. Because that is the kind of season we are living through. Complicated, emotional, injury-ridden, maddening at times, but never dull. Never without hope. And never without that feeling that something special could still happen. COYG, tomorrow night, Lisbon. Let us go and make history. That is your full breakdown ahead of tomorrow's Champions League quarter-final first leg. If this video gave you value, please hit that like button right now. It helps more Arsenal supporters find this channel, and it genuinely means everything to us here. Subscribe if you are not already part of this community. Drop your predicted scoreline in the comments below. I am reading every single one, and I will be back with the full post-match reaction and analysis after the final whistle tomorrow night. James Arsenal Analysis. I am James, and Arsenal tomorrow night are everything.